Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen. We are reading Matthew chapter 24. Who knows what's happening in my life right now? So I'm just going to read because some division going on. Alright, and Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to shew him from the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? The buildings of the temple. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. So pause for a moment and know that what he's about to say, people are going to say the opposite. Let no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. There's many in the world that exist now that have millions following them and believe they are the second coming of Christ, and shall deceive many. It's happening right now. For many shall come, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Rumors of wars are wars that people are talking about that aren't really going to happen. Like the Gog and Magog war. It's not going to happen right now. It's not going to happen until after the 1,000 years is completed. But it's a rumor that it's going to happen. But it's not true. So you're going to hear of wars that are actually happening, like what's going on in Israel right now. Ukraine, Russia, all Iran, all that kind of stuff. Those are wars that are happening. And there's rumors of wars that are not going to happen. Now, we are in these times right now. We're in the end times right now. So just apply this to us and look and see if it works out with the news. Okay? Because he said that, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. That means these things are going to happen. They're going to come so that you can see them, so that they can pass, so that you know what time it is, just like the hour hand on a clock. How much time has passed? What has happened? These things have come to pass. Okay? But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. Have you heard of earthquakes lately? All these are the beginning of sorrows. The beginning. Then shall they deliver you to be afflicted. See? That's the beginning of sorrows. And then we know that we who are here are going to be afflicted and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. You see, there's going to come a time where this one world order and the beast rules all the nations, and all the nations worship the beast except those whose names are written in the Lamb Book of Life. And those people, we will be hated by all nations. That's what you're signing up for if you're a Christian. You've signed up for this, especially in these end times. You know, you can't expect that God is going to deliver you in the same way that he delivered other people, other than the fact that He delivered Egypt and the whole world out of a famine by telling them to prepare for 7 years and gave them 7 years to do it. He's telling us this is going to be 7 whole years, and then 3.5 of it is going to be the Antichrist causing the mark of the beast. So you have 3.5 years to prepare. God is very fair, and he cut it short. But these are the beginning of sorrows, and then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted. It doesn't say, and then the rapture happens. It says, then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my sake. And then, okay, because of this, okay, after people were afflicted and killed, then many shall be offended, caused to sin and turn away from God, and shall betray one another, because there's no food. You know, my brother's a Christian. There's a reward to turn in Christians, to turn in people who won't worship the mark of the beast, who are in hiding. So many shall be offended and betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise. Isn't that interesting? And shall deceive many, telling you this is not the way it's going to happen. They're telling you, oh, here's where we're at. We're at where we're hearing wars and rumors of wars. That's where we're at. But Jesus is coming back, and we're not going to be here for the they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and killed. They're changing the gospel that Jesus spoke. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, iniquity is lawlessness, because people are going to do what they want to do into the laws unto themselves, into the law unto their whatever internal in their own heart that they decide is the moral code to follow. Lawlessness shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. That they had love, but because of these sorrows that began with the passing of the wars and rumors of wars, then there's going to be peace. It has to pass for peace. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Jesus is warning you. He's been warning us for 2,000 years, the end time people. He that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. We will have to endure. We will have to love not our lives unto death. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And this happens in Revelations when the angel does it. This is not accomplished by men. This timeline, this point right here, verse 14 of chapter 24, Jesus is giving you a glimpse into the revelation of Jesus Christ that he gave through an angel to John. Because he says right here, and then the end shall come. Read it in Revelation. The angel will speak it over the whole earth to every tribe and tongue and nation. And when ye therefore, and he's going to warn people not to take the mark of the beast. There's a warning of the whole world that the gospel is preached during that says don't take the mark of the beast. When ye therefore, so after you see that happen, the angel, go read it in Revelation or take my word for it. We'll get there. Preached in all the world when the angel does this. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Okay? Daniel says this is going to happen. And then there's the 1260 and the 1335. Spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. That's the words I was trying to use in the previous video. Whoso readeth, let him understand. You see, Daniel, we didn't have the understanding. And Jesus knew this was going to be written down. Okay? So he wasn't talking even to the people who he was talking to. He was talking to the people who were going to read the record. And not only that, talking to the people who were going to have the revelation of Jesus Christ given to them so that they could understand the prophet Daniel. Jesus gave that revelation so we would have clarity in the end times. So whosoever readeth it, that means after this is written down, and after you have the ability to read the revelation, understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. He's given a very specific direction for those who are still in Judea, for those who are in and around Jerusalem. When you see the desolation of the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, you need to flee. And it's such a flee type of get the heck out of here type of moment. Let him which is on the housetop. Are you a roofer? You just sitting there enjoying the sun, drinking some tea? Not come down to take anything out of his house. Your preparation better already be somewhere else. You better not need to travel with stuff at this point. Hear me, you better be prepared at this point. Because if you're in Judea, if you're in Israel, you see this stuff happening, maybe anywhere else in the world. I'm not sure how God's going to prepare for his bride, but I know he's going to prepare for the remnant. But don't take anything out of your house. That means you either God is going to supernaturally provide for what's coming, or you are all ready to be prepared and have the oil in your lamps, which is what I believe that we are taught. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Don't even go get more clothes. Be ready to flee. And woe unto them that are with child. This is why I tell people, as you see this stuff happening, you need to quit making babies. All right, so let's say that you're in a relationship right now and you want to have kids. All right, well, we haven't seen the peace treaty. So let's say you get pregnant right now. Good, you won't be with child. And if you get, as long as you're not having the baby. So basically, don't get pregnant after a year of the peace treaty. Because then you might be still giving suck in those days. And, back in the old days, children gave suck a little bit longer than they do now. So it's because the child can take care of itself. It's weaned off the breast because it can take care of itself. There's no worries of nutrition. So you basically don't need to get pregnant from the time if you hear the peace treaty and you're pregnant, good. Don't do nothing after that. Avoid it. You think that this doctrine is extreme. Jesus says, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Those are the words of Christ. You can disregard them if you want to. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. In other words, you need to be paying so much attention to the time that you can see the countdown and you know that the abomination of desolation is about to happen, and pray that you have your preparation and stores before winter, because if you don't, by the time you realize what's going on in Judea, if your flight is in the cold, it's going to be much harder. So you need to be prepared before the winter that comes after the abomination of desolation. You need to be watching. We need to be able to see that coming, and we can. Anybody who says we're not going to be able to see that has got something to sell. That's all I keep saying. They got something they're trying to sell you. All I'm trying to give you is the truth. I'll sell you a copy of this Bible once I get it copied and printed, but I'm trying to give you the truth. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now that could be for a couple reasons. Maybe like in Roman days, there was Roman, taxation on the Sabbath day. And so there was extra, they're going to be looking out, especially on the Sabbath day for, the beast, the system of the beast looking for Christians. Or maybe because God says that the Sabbath is a covenant forever, that he expects you to not be having to flee on the Sabbath. So as you see the day approaching, and you see the abomination of desolation approaching, plan to not have to flee on the Sabbath. Pray that God, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be so difficult to accomplish this that you need to pray that God would give you supernatural provision, strength, timing, unity of believers, family, to not have to have your flight in the winter. Because people are going to say the Lord is tarrying. And then last minute they're going to have to fly. They're going to have to get the flight in the winter, and that's what I'm teaching. Okay, that's how I see it. Okay, I don't feel like I'm adding anything to that. That's what I believe Jesus is trying to tell us. Okay, so now what we have the abomination of desolation. We have everybody fleeing because Jesus is telling us the timeline. For then, after you have to flee, because you're still here. For then shall be great tribulation. This is not the beginning of the 7 years. Then shall be great tribulation. After the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, the Antichrist, stand in the holy place. A rebuilt temple. People say, well, we're the third temple. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit. But we also don't do the daily sacrifices that are going to have to come to a stop. Actual daily sacrifices that are going to come to a stop. And the Antichrist that is spoken of by Daniel is going to stand in the holy place and declare himself God. So at that point, the midpoint of the 7-year covenant with the many, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. Jesus is saying, tribulation, everything you can imagine that happened. The wickedness in the earth that was so bad that God flooded it. Everybody that's been killed for the name of God. The tribulation, all tribulation, famine, pestilence, is going to be so bad that such as was not since the beginning of the world to when he's talking right then, no, nor, or he's saying the world to this time, it's never not, such as was not since the beginning of the world to the end time. You see? And after the end times, the tribulation is the millennial reign. And then there's the beast released for a season to deceive the corners of the earth. They come against Israel. They surround Israel and God kills them. Boom. And then he destroys the earth. At some point after that. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, and accept those days. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time that he's in now, or the time that he's talking about. Nor shall ever be. So it doesn't matter how bad you think things have gotten. Okay? We know that this tribulation correlates with the whole world having to worship the beast. And people say, well, try to tell the people in other countries who are being killed for Christ that they're not in the tribulation period. Okay, you're not in the tribulation period. You are not in this great tribulation. You are in tribulation. You are going through testing. Your faith is being tested in this wicked end times. And may mercy come upon you. But know that if you love not your life unto death for the name of Jesus, you have your reward. And it awaits you. And all those who are martyred for Christ. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall not be shortened. So what does this mean? Does this mean God's actually going to shorten the days? Like they're going to actually just take less time? Does it mean that because the calendar is off, that there's only 364 days in the year instead of 365? That the church is going to be, the deceived church is going to be doing a calculation of how long they need to be in hiding based on 1,260 days, or based on 3.5 years times 365 and a quarter days, instead of 3.5 years times 364 days? Like, is that the shortening of it? Like, because everyone's like, we have to wait till this time. Oh no, we can't do it. And God's like, yeah, you can, because there's like 100 days difference here. I got to work with it. I'll just shorten what you think's happening. The year isn't when you think it is. And he's actually shortened it because it isn't what it is now. We actually have less time than we think, is the point. For then shall great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Who's the elect? The people who are chosen to be here. That's you. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. Why? How can somebody see Christ return and you not know it? Any type of, oh, did you see that? Did you notice Christ was over in the desert, that he was in Africa, and that now he's black? Did you notice that? Did you notice that he's now Hindu guy over in blah, 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 and now he's, the Messiah is there? Did you notice that there's a Muhammad rendition down the line from Allah, who's going to be the next Mahid or whatever the name is for their Messiah? The Jews are going to believe the Antichrist is the Messiah. Don't believe it. When Jesus comes, every eye will see him. No one will have to tell you. The earth is flat. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive even the very elect. So if the time wasn't shortened, everyone would be killed. And if it were possible to deceive the elect, which God is saying the elect know him. You can't deceive me. I know who the Messiah is. I've operated in his name. I know who God is. You can't deceive me. I would have to apostatize because I know better. But he's saying that the signs and wonders are going to be so great. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So think how easy it's going to be able to deceive those who don't know. For as the lightning cometh out of the east. So does the lightning ever come from west to east? Interesting thought. Pay attention to the lightning next time. And shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. The lightning shall be as bright and instant and flash in the twinkling of an eye, and it will be seen from the east to the west. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Oh man, I thought about this today. In the end times, when we're hiding, there's going to probably be people that die. There might not. Maybe it'll be a time of preservation like the wilderness when the Israelites' shoes didn't wear out and their garments didn't rip. Maybe people will die. And I was thinking, we're going to have a way to get rid of that or preserve that or something, store those bodies, because if they were to dispose of them, they would be able to find Christians who are having to get the decay out of the camp, so to speak. And then the eagles would fly and then they'd find you. I thought about that today. Immediately, when? Immediately. Or how quickly, I mean? Immediately. After the tribulation. When? So after the tribulation, after they're killing people, afflicting people, doing signs and wonders, trying to deceive people that Jesus isn't the Christ, that the new Christ is here. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. You know, we just had a solar eclipse event through America, and people saw a shadow over them for moments at a time while the earth spins through space and the clouds sat still. This ain't gonna be a 3 or 4 minute eclipse that one set of people see. The whole earth is going to see the sun darkened. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. Now, I've thought about this. Are these actual stars? Possibly. Are these the angels that are stars that God has put them in their place? Are these satellites that we see flying around? And when Jesus, well, this is Jesus talking, so it's probably stars. So we can speculate on all kinds of things, but since Jesus is saying it, let's go with the actual stars that stay in formation and rotate according to the time and season, shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. What does that mean? Does that mean like the kingdoms and powers, the spirits, the angels, the demons that are in the heavenlies shall be shaken? Does that mean that the space stations and all the powers of the nations that are flying around with air balloons, weather balloons? And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. So what's the sign of the Son of Man in heaven? And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. All of them are going to mourn. How can all the tribes of the earth mourn? And all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Everybody says that this is only possible now because of the computer age, the cell phone age. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket. Everybody can see the Son of Man coming because of that. Okay? But this is going to be after the tribulation. Okay? After famine and pestilence. After nation rise against nation. After the Antichrist comes. After tribulation. I know the people in hiding are not going to have their phones out because you'll be able to be traced and they'll be able to find where you're hiding and come kill you. So you're going to have to go dark. Everybody's not going to have a camera. The only way every eye is going to see is if the earth is as God says it is. It is a footstool at his throne. That it has a glass molten, fashioned by his hand, firmament above it. That he set the stars in. And he's going to part that firmament like a scroll. And Jesus is going to come in the clouds. That's what Jesus is telling you he's going to do. Immediately after, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the power. Oh, here's another thing with this whole. What I just. Eclipse. Science says that the earth gets its moon, or gets its light by the moon gets its light by reflecting off of the sun. So how does a dark moon that's supposed to reflect the sun be dark and not lit up and go in front of a sun and past the sun and never change its darkness to light because of its orientation to the sun? We would be able to see the moon phase immediately during an eclipse because it's going from this side to this side, and you would be able to observe that. But according to the book of Enoch, the moon and the sun are the same size, and literally the moon just sat in front of the sun for a minute for you to see that it's the same size. Or you can believe that the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, and the sun is 400 times farther away. And that the angles happen to line up in perfect drawing for a sigil that stands for Satan. So, consider it if you want to. It's all a lie. God's going to darken the sun, and the moon's not going to have no light. That's why the moon is phasing right now in 14 days. She'll be on day 9 today. But it didn't just get a whole bunch of light, and we didn't see it phase because of the reflection of the sun as it passed by. Come on, people. Wake up. You've been lied to. NASA means lie. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will be the eagles be gathered together immediately after the tribulation, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the heaven, and then shall the tribes of the earth see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels. So at this point, when we see him appear in the sky, in the clouds, he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the earth. So after the great tribulation, so he's saying, I'm not coming back until after the tribulation. Like, can he be more clear? Does your church preach he's returning before the tribulation? Let's back up. Verse 29. Verse 27. For as lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Flash. Quickly. I'm here now. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Okay, God is very clear that there is many tribulations, but the great tribulation is the tribulation of those days, not some other tribulation that's going on before those days. That's tribulation, persecution, but not the great tribulation. Immediately after the tribulation, ... shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and they shall see ... and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Like, anybody preaching anything different is in trouble. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. They shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from the end of the heaven to the other. So after the tribulation, there is a gathering from the four winds from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. Here's the parable. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know the summer is nigh. So what it's saying is, the tree will give you a sign it's about to bear fruit. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, all of them. So wars, rumors of wars come to pass. Covenant with the many, not written here. In the middle of that, the abomination of desolation, the great tribulation. When ye shall see these things come to pass, so likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near. It is near. What is near? The end, even at the doors. So you're going to see Jesus come in a cloud. He's going to gather some folks up. Gather. Is that the rapture? Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So people will be like, well, what's a generation? The last generation? The generation of the last days? The generation of these days, of these times. When we are born, this generation is going to see it. All of it. In one generation. That's what he's telling you. He's telling you that within one generation, all of these signs are going to take place. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. He doesn't say that we won't know. He doesn't say that. He's saying to those people that of that day and hour, nobody, no man knows, including himself. The angels, no, not the angels in heaven, but my Father only. Jesus is not the Father. He separates himself yet again from the Father. And he don't even know. Only the Father. But as were the days of Noe were, as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. But verse 36, folks, people are out there saying no man can know the day or the hour. I do not agree with that. I think when the time comes, the only way we're not going to know the day or the hour is if we're deceived into what time it is. Those people are not going to know. If you think that you're not going to know the day or the hour, that's because you believe you're not going to have the right information given to you. You know, we might be in hiding and lose track of how many days we're in hiding. We might forget what day it is. We might not have clocks, so we forget what time it is. But we're going to know when the countdown is, I guarantee you, because Jesus told us right there, when the desolation of abomination, then the tribulation's coming. We know how long that's going to take, 42 months. So, that's what we got to watch for. And even if we don't know the day or the hour, even if you take that stance and say that there's no other revelation, there's nothing we can watch and pray and get revelation from God and understand the time we're in. If you believe you cannot understand the time we're in, it's going to be a mystery. There's nothing I can teach you, because that's a false doctrine. You got to come off of that. And he shall send his angels with a great sound, Heaven and earth shall pass away, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels, but my Father only. But as the day I know his word, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Alright, so before we go any further, what's going on in the days of Noah? Okay? For 120 years, God gave the earth a prophecy and told Noah to start building the ark. And for 120 years, he built the ark, if I'm not mistaken, those years. It's either 100 or 120, I can't remember right now. But for 120 years, the earth had the warning of the judgment. The people saw Noah building the ark. He preached. Everyone thought he was nuts. And then when the time came, they were living their life, doing normal life, whatever normal life is. Do you want to get married? That's what they were doing. Do you want to seek a career? That's what they were doing. Do you want to hunt for treasure? That's what they were doing. Do you want to... Whatever you're doing, not paying attention to the time that you are in right now, wake up. That's what's going to be happening. Okay, in the time of Noah. Wickedness, idolatry, sodomy, homosexuality, murder, men loving pleasure and not God, making a law unto themselves, false teachers, false Christs, false prophets, tickling the ears of those who want to hear a message that won't condemn their sin. That's why I'm telling you, if you see the temple being rebuilt or the 7-year peace treaty in the Middle East, don't have any more babies. I'm not saying abort your babies. I'm saying avoid what takes place to make a baby. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. The time is short, folks. Don't be like those people. Let no man deceive you. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. The reapers are going to come, and they're going to take the tares first. You're taught that when the reapers come, and one is in the field, and one is at the mill, and one is in the bed, and the other one is taken, or two is in those places, and one is taken, and the other left. You're taught that's the rapture. That's not what the Bible teaches. That's the tares being taken first. Oh, it's right here. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. The one who is taken is the tare. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Again, the tare. Watch therefore. Watch. How can you watch for something that you don't have no clue to watch for? For ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. So you have to watch and you have to pay attention. So there's confirmation. We won't know the hour. Nobody's going to know the exact hour. But we are going to know when the midnight hour is approaching. Unless we lose track of time. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched. He's saying, since you don't know, you can't watch based on that. And would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready. That implies preparation. For in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. Who then is faithful and wise? Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household? This is a question. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household to give them meat in due season? Who is faithful to give them meat in due season? Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household to give them meat and in due season? So he's saying, if you are going to have meat during these times, that's what I'm taking, during these times, you're going to have somebody ruling over your household with this preparation and readiness in mind, so that you have meat in due season. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord make him ruler over all his goods. That means these are the end times. I've got enough. I need you to help me disperse it wisely and faithfully, so that we have meat in due season, so that we're ready for the midnight hour, when the tribulation, after the tribulation, and the sun is coming, and the trumpet sounds, and the tares are taken. You want to make it to there? Hopefully you have a faithful and wise servant who the Lord has made ruler over your house, or makes you that ruler over your house. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing, being faithful and wise, providing the meat for his household in this season. But if that evil servant shall say, it is my heart, my Lord, say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. In other words, you were told he was coming before now. The rapture's happening any day. It's happening September 24th. It's happening 12/12/2012. I mean, come on, folks. It's for an appointed time. Everybody who's telling you that it's going to happen every other weekend, just stop watching their channels. Click off of them. You're not helping the world. Not that I'm perfect in sharing all the perfect truth, but share this. At least it's the truth. Hit the like button. Apparently it helps. I don't know. I don't make no money from this, but apparently if you like it, it'll go to other people, I guess. I don't know. Therefore be you also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man is coming. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made rule over his household, to give him meat in due season? Who? Are you going to be a faithful and wise servant, that the Lord can give you ruler over his goods? Rulership over his goods. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, saying, we're just going, you know what? Jesus ain't coming back. I'm going to eat and drink all I want. I'm going to go out and do what God don't want me to do, because who knows when he's coming back, and I'm tired of waiting. The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, because he's an evil, wicked servant. And in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. He says that a few times, but the weeping and gnashing of teeth. Folks, Jesus just laid it out. Anybody who tries to tell you that this ain't the timeline, wars and rumors of wars that are to come to pass, that's the beginning of sorrow. Okay? They're going to come to pass. We're going to know that now It begins the sorrow of the saints across the world right now, being killed, being beheaded, being martyred. It has begun now, and it will come to pass. And then there will be a treaty. And then, up until the abomination of desolation, there will be a time, as in the time of Joseph, for preparation. 3.5 years for 3.5 years. Woe to you if you give suck during this time, because the desolation and abomination is about to take place, and you can't speed up the growth of your child when it happens. You need to be preparing wisely and faithfully so that you can provide meat for your household in due season. If you don't, I do believe there's going to be a woe. A woe to you, a woe to them. It's going to be a woe. And if you become part of those people who say, I didn't sign up for this, Jesus didn't come back like I was told he would, and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be, this is what the appointed portion is, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Hit the like button.